I'm normally terrified of medication, but this right here has worked wonders for me. Hello, everyone. My name is Reginald, and this is RegiCast. Now, today I'm going to briefly share with you my experiences of ADHD medication. I was originally planning to wait a few weeks before coming out with this video, but after using medication for 2 weeks straight, only to not have access to medication for a few days because of a pharmacy shortage in my area, I definitely feel ready to share my experience of life before medication and after medication, and the difference between those two states. I am not a medical professional. I do not want this to replace any medical advice that you've received from a doctor, a psychiatrist, or any other medical professional in your life. Furthermore, I want to be extra clear. I am not sponsored by anyone. This is not sponsored by any pharmaceutical company or any psychiatrist or pharmacist. This is just me sharing my experiences, especially given that some of you guys were interested, and I hope I do so in a meaningful way. So, without further ado, let's begin. As some of you may know, I've recently been diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD for short, and because of that, my psychiatrist prescribed Vyvanse for me to take every morning. Vyvanse is an amphetamine that increases neurotransmitters such as dopamine and norepinephrine in my brain. It also activates receptors in my brain so that they are more sensitive to these neurotransmitters. This is important because dopamine and norepinephrine are way lower for people who have ADHD than for people who do not have ADHD. And what ends up happening is that key areas in the brain, including the frontal cortex, the basal ganglia, the limbic system, and the reticular activating system, don't get the chemical signals they need to function properly, making it much harder for me and other people with ADHD to do anything related to self-control or goal-oriented behavior. With that being said, I've been taking Vyvanse for about 3 weeks now, and I definitely see why my psychiatrist has recommended it. It takes about an hour to kick in, but once it does, I feel way more focused than before, and my self-talk becomes much more calm and encouraging. This increased focus and positive self-talk leads me to work a lot more patiently towards the goals that I want, as well as deal a lot more effectively with the daily problems that normally would have stressed me out for hours. This was made especially clear to me last week. I recently had a situation where my pharmacy was late in refilling their medication supply, leading me to not take medication for several days after taking it for 2 weeks straight. And being put in situations without medication, especially after experiencing the benefits of medication firsthand, was honestly such a bad experience for me. My mind started to feel much more agitated and restless. I obviously couldn't focus, and I had to start dragging myself once again to do even small tasks like open up my email or send one email to a person that I know I need to send it to. Honestly, I'm surprised I've been able to manage life without medication for as long as I have. Now, I don't consider Vyvanse or any other medication to be a perfect solution, at least in my experience. I still get distracted, I scroll YouTube and social media a lot, and I still procrastinate. On top of that, the effects of Vyvanse wear off after about 12 hours, so after that 12-hour shift, I'm pretty much done for the day. But nowadays, I definitely feel like I have more of a choice to focus whenever I choose to, as opposed to that trapped, distracted feeling that I've lived with for most of my life. With all of the benefits that I've shared with you, I'm also genuinely glad that my medication doesn't seem to be addictive, at least not to me. In fact, I even forget to take my medication sometimes, so I have some alarms and reminders on my phone for my meds. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm still embarrassed to take my medication in front of other people, even if they know I have ADHD. Which may just be a socially smart thing to do, but I will admit that it is an insecurity that I still have and that I want to get rid of at some point soon. I am genuinely glad that I'm taking medication for ADHD now, especially given that I was avoiding it for years. I mean, I genuinely have a fear of being addicted to medication. I genuinely am afraid of what medication would do to my personality or to my body. But because of my experience over the past few weeks, I genuinely feel that ADHD medication is right for me. And I'm genuinely grateful that I have this in my life now. So that's really it. I know this might have sounded like a huge advertisement for ADHD medication. Honestly, it's up to you. Do whatever you want. What I will say is that if you do have ADHD, it wouldn't hurt to at least talk to your psychiatrist or your doctor about medication and see if it would be right for you. Ultimately, the choice is yours, but speaking from experience, I do think it's worth at least looking into. I am looking forward to reading your comments about ADHD medication though, especially if you have ADHD and are taking medication yourself. What ADHD medication works for you? What time of day do you prefer taking your ADHD medication? Is there anything else that you've been doing that's been helping you with your ADHD? Those type of questions, I would love to read your responses, as well as just general feedback on this video, of course. Other than that, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you all on the next video. Take care.